than with our families, with our wives or husbands, with our kids. And the thing is that if we don't try to enjoy the experience, we will be having a real sad life. So let's put passion in what we need to do. Let's enjoy the experience, because I think that at the end we are people. And honestly, I like people much more than technology. I don't like technology. I like people. So I like communicating with people, sharing information, sharing experiences, talking to them, and of course, making some common objectives, working in teams, and advancing in that way. Please enjoy the experience, because if not, you will be lost and you will have probably a very sad life. And last but not least, for me, the real key of the success is you. All of us are the keys of the success. All of us have some way of take action. And all of us can collaborate and exchange some experience with each other. So don't wait. Don't wait that a formal approach from our organization appears, or don't wait for any regulation or requirement. Now, in the next coffee break, or in the next lunch, in the lunch break, please ask another colleague that you haven't met yet and talk about these things. What's your perception? What do you think about the Spanish guy that we're presenting this morning? How are you approaching to industrial cybersecurity? How is your relationship with the OT guys? Or how is your relationship with the IT guys? I think that's very important. Remember, the key is you. So you have the opportunity to advance in that way, in a collaboration, coordination, and committed way. Thank you, May.
And thank you, Samuel. Thank you. Now, before you leave, I think we've got time for just one question. Do we have a question from the audience for Samuel? No? Okay, we've got one right at the front. We've got time for one. So we'll take this one.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for a very thought-provoking and informative presentation.
Thank you.
You have touched upon several areas in terms of people, process, and technology. I have a threefold question for you. What should be in order to put a cybersecurity program, what should be the top 3 priorities for an organization? And the second part of my question is, how do you put an oversight for a cybersecurity program in the organization? And the third part is, how do you educate the people part, the employees, for their cybersecurity role?
That's the
That's like
answer,
one
right?
question broken into 3 parts. All right, do we have time for that?
Let's try. I think that the key thing, as I have mentioned, is people. Okay, and that's the answer, and the difficult answer for the three questions indeed. Which one should be the main priority? The main priority is knowing ourselves. And the only way to knowing ourselves as an organization, and from technical, but also from the people and practice way, is to get the different experience, knowledge of your own organization. Yeah, you probably will have some help from the outside, but you have to get involved all the different parts. And I know that it's a big challenge, because sometimes some parts are reporting to VP, the other are reporting to other VP. But let's try it, and let's try to approach in a parallel way, sometimes very formal, because sometimes you have to elevate and ask for help from the top management. But in the same way, let's approach from the bottom. So you can start talking and discussing these kind of things with your colleagues in the other areas. Okay, so first thing, knowing ourselves. At the end, assessment in some way, from the whole comprehensive assessment. Okay, how to involve people. You know that I'm also studying psychology, because I know you know that I like people more than technology. And the only way I have found to involve people is to feed them with their own interests. And there are people that are interested on advancing in their professional career. Others are interested on having more personal time. Others are interested on changing their job or their role in the organization. And I think that it's important to know the interests, the personal interests of people. The people that have to be involved in those kind of projects. And then try to address them in some way. Goes again for the simple approach and the practical approach. Sometimes you can do very simple things that will have a lot of impact, especially with people. So let's try to, I'm sorry, but I don't have the magic answer, a simple answer, but for me is make also something like a personal interest assessment in that way, okay? And I think the third one was?
On the priorities.
Sorry? Priorities.
Oh, priorities.
Priorities, yeah. Of course, increasing the awareness is completely, absolutely important. Because as you can see, have seen with all of the presentations, most of the problems and the infections and incidents we have are because people are not working, not doing the right things. And most of the time, not from a malicious side, but because they are not aware of that. So we have to increase the awareness, the knowledge, no experts needed, but we have to increase a little bit the level of awareness about the cyber risks, especially in the plant and these kind of things. And again, this is completely linked with the personal interest assessment. Yeah, if you have psychologists in your organization, I will involve some psychologists in the team. And the next one, or the first one with that, is again the assessment. You can protect what you don't know. So probably one of the first things is know the reality of your plan, the reality of your praxis, that not always is the ones that you have drawn in the paper. So make it something like monitoring traffic, capture traffic, and analyze, for example, from a very practical way, the flows, the data flows you have. And you probably will be surprised about some things appearing there that are not in your draws on the theoretical approach.
Okay.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For the coming 30 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about ISA 99 or IEC 62443 and how to use that to secure the hidden layers. And during my presentation, I'm going to introduce myself a little bit, and then I'm going to explain you what the hidden layers are, in our opinion, because cybersecurity is already there for a number of years, and a lot of companies have already done quite a good job at starting to protecting their ICS environment. Well, my name is Arjan Meijer. First, I'm going to introduce my company a little bit. Talking about the basics of cybersecurity management. You've all seen it already, probably, so I'll just pick out the important parts and talk a little bit about what we see on our assessment part. Then some incident examples that are, and then instrumentation, because that's the thing I want to talk about most. The wheels of our automation system. Because without instrumentation, either sensing or controlling, we would just be flying blind. We wouldn't be able to control the process in any way. And then how you can use a standard to help secure that layer. So first of all, a little bit about myself. I'm a security consultant at Hudson Cybertec. I have a Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical Engineering. As my introduction already stated, I worked in various domains, ranging from food, water, oil and gas to critical infrastructure, which makes my job very interesting because I see a lot of plants and a lot of different environments. And I'm also a certified ISA 99 or IEC 62443 trainer and a subject matter expert. So that means that every time ISA in Europe has a talk going up, then I'm coming in and talking about standards, which is very good and interesting, I think. So, we are a solution provider, Hudson Cybertec, on the cybersecurity in the OT domain. So we don't program PLCs, we know them. We don't create SCADA systems, we secure them. So pure cybersecurity in the OT domain. We have full focus on there in industry or technical automation systems that are vital for your operation. So that also means, for example, hospitals, and I'm not talking about privacy information, but about the systems that actually keep you alive, like insulin pumps, oxygen supplies, building automation systems, and so on. So that's the thing we're really focusing on. Well, and the sectors that we're in, we also do quite a lot with governments and suppliers, training and working together on securing cybersecurity in the OT domain. For the basics of cybersecurity management, well, as we already seen in numerous presentations, it's about three things: technology, firewalls, intrusion detection systems, things like that. Organization, so making sure that your organization is up to speed, you have the proper policies and procedures in place, and that your organization is in control of your technology and also your people. That they are aware and that they know what they should do and that they have the basic knowledge to complete their jobs, and also complete their jobs with proper attention to cybersecurity in the OT domain. And they all should work together, because it's not a one thing. You're not going to implement a policy and then forget about technology and people. I've had customers, as I already had said yesterday in the discussion panel, we asked me to write a large number of policies. We wrote a few policies, and we help people to understand how to implement them and get proper technical measures to support it. So that's the cooperation that should be there between technology, organization, and the people that you've got. Well, and then things we see in ICS environments, in the audits that we do. Well, first of all, there is a problem often with network architectures. I last had a customer, I came in and I asked her, well, do you have some network drawings for the assessment that I'm going to start? Oh, sir, I don't have any network drawings. And I said, oh, why not? Well, our network is basically very simple. It's a flat line and we just connect every device on it and, well, it works. Yeah, that's correct. It works, but perhaps it's not the best architecture that you can have. Also legacy systems, and that the drawings are not current or up to date. Malware we see, and a large portion of the issues, it's coming from dedicated systems like black boxes. Last week I gave an ISA 99 training and I had a discussion with someone building oil platforms for the North Sea. And he said, well, the problem that we face is that we build up those platforms of a lot of different components. But how are we going to make sure that those components are secure, and how are we going to make sure that they are securely integrated? Because we receive it, it's a big crane, it's automation on it, they place it physically on the platform and they connect the connector to it. So, but then you connect an alien system that you're not in control of to your system, because you need to cooperate, you need to exchange information, but still, how did security get arranged, cybersecurity? And technology, one of the issues that we see quite often is that it's given a false sense of security. Oh, don't worry about the USB stick, because we got a virus scanner. So if we insert the USB stick and there is a virus on it, the virus scanner will catch it. Yeah, well, if you're lucky, yes. If you're unlucky, then no. So often people forget about their responsibilities and the policies and procedures because they rely too much on the technology. So again, it should be balanced. Then for the organization part, lack of vision. Where do we want to go? What is the role of ICS cybersecurity in our organization? Because cybersecurity is not something, we must do cybersecurity. No, cybersecurity should be something that you want to do to help you to gain more of your plant. Cybersecurity can be an added value and help you to get more uptime, get smoother processes, and to continue better with your plant. Often we also see no clear policy, who is responsible for what. And that's something that I'm going to talk about later on. Because think already about your site, your plant. Often I see an engineering team, which is process automation team, which have some security knowledge by these days, or have had some training. But then again, who is installing the instrumentation in the field, and who is responsible for the instrumentation? Often it's a separate team. Do they have the same training? Do they also have the awareness training on the instrumentation layer? And who is responsible for the security over there? Well, up-to-date procedures is something that we see quite often that are missing. And financial or different interests and cultures. And incorrect or insufficient communication. Culture is very important to integrate cybersecurity. And I've literally sat between an IT guy and an ICS guy. And I said, guys, relax. Because they were literally standing up, ready to throw binders at each other. Because they didn't understand each other's way of working. And they did not understand each other's way of how to do things. IT asked, well, why can't you just install the policy when it's of the patch when it's released? Oh, we have an automation system that should be up at all time. Yeah, but the patch is important for the cybersecurity, yeah, but there are a lot of differences in risk management goals, in system uptime requirements, in availability requirements, and that makes that the two worlds need to learn from each other and need to communicate. And often in organizational issues and policies and procedures, there's an issue. And people. A lot of cybersecurity presentations that I've seen over the years address the issue of, well, the systems in ICS, they have a life cycle of, well, 25, 35 years. While IT only have a life cycle of like 3, 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. Well, same holds true for the people quite often. If I go to an IT guy and ask, well, how long do you work already for the company? Already for 2 or 3 years, and I think it's a long time. If I go to the ICS engineer, I often get the response, oh, I've been working here since I was 16. Oh, and how old are you now? 55. So not only the systems are staying longer, but also the people. And if you're currently working already since you're 16 with the same systems, you build them and you evolve them, we often see a quite conservative culture, and which is then difficult to gain new insights on cybersecurity and to make people understand cybersecurity. Resistance against change is what we see. And a lack of awareness, both in management level and in general. And no or insufficient specific knowledge. Last audit that I've done was quite interesting. I asked the ICS or the IT people, okay, who is responsible and has the knowledge for Windows 8? Well, I am, said someone. Windows 7, oh, another guy. Windows Server 2008, oh, another guy. Windows 2003 Server, yet another guy. In IT, everyone has his own roles and responsibilities. There was a lot of segmentation and they all had their own specialities. And I went to the ICS part and the guy said, well, my responsibilities, high voltage, low voltage. I need to interface with the instrumentation. I have the responsibility to program the PLCs. I also have to program the SCADA system. I also have to do the remote service, and now all of a sudden, because you came here and implemented cybersecurity, I need to take care of the switches, the Active Directory, the firewalls, the intrusion detection system, and so on. There were a lot of things going on. And that made that the working people on the floor did not have enough specific knowledge and time to implement security in a proper way. So that being said, that can lead to some incidents. Well, here, I don't know who has a refrigerator with an Ethernet port on it, but they will come. They can be hacked and they will send out spam. But the same thing with smart TVs. Probably in the room someone will have a smart TV at their home, which includes an Ethernet port. You connect it to it. Well, printers, your toaster, your microwave. Eventually everything will be coupled. It's the Internet of Things, right? So, but please be aware that also those devices can be hacked. And then fast cars. Who likes fast cars? I do. Specifically this one, nice and all. If you look at the Tesla, on the left side of the dashboard, there's a 4-pin connector to it. On the internet you can find a scheme, how you can build a change connector from that connector type to a standard RJ45 connector, plug it into your laptop, scan, and you will see a dedicated IP address for the central console, a dedicated IP address for the central console and some other computers, just attached to the internal network of the device itself. So what could happen, because it's also accessible from the internet? Well, who knows what might be in there. But it's based on computers. It's everywhere. What about the car if you have a road system that's hacked and just crashed? I mean, that's no use for your car because then you only have traffic jams. Or what if your water supply is being hacked? I've seen some cases, not really fancy, just wrong installations, and a lot of times I hear architecture. And then sometimes I hear people say, yeah, let's air gap. Could be a good solution, but you should definitely make sure that's policy and organization around it, because if air gapping as a pure technical measure would work, then the ISS would be pretty safe, because I cannot imagine a bigger air gap than having the ISS around the world. So, but either way it got infected. So probably air gapping could have some issues also. Well, then we've seen some Night Dragon attacks, and some experts were able to hack into a power grid. How? Just by sending out phishing mails. Actually, they had to stop before they were actually finished with the test, because the amount of response that they got was so big that they just said, okay, let's stop. Let's bring some quiet to the organization. It's better. So why did security fail in these cases? Well, in some cases it's about technology. Not having firewalls, not having segmentation in the right way. In some cases it's organization. I mean, if you have a space station up, make at least sure that no one brings a USB stick which is infected up to space to put it into the computers. I mean, shouldn't there be a policy for that? And shouldn't that policy be also explained to the people? Definitely it was. And for people, we've seen, well, power grids, that's getting hacked. You should have awareness training going on and have some proper, also technical measures. So what I'm doing here is just say one point. Actually, security failed on all examples, on all fronts, because it should be balanced. If you take too much measures on technology, or let's air gap, for example, then you will see, and if you have no decent property policies and procedures in place, and also no awareness training, someone will take a USB stick and just bypass your architecture. So, and what about forgotten layers? Because that's really what I want to talk about. Well, often I see ICS security living in level 3, the top of level 2 maybe, because that's where